I'm the president of Pan-African Parliament, and people now say, having been re-elected. And I always say, I don't know which school in the world, which university can address this issue. I'm called re-elected, but I was elected 2021, so 2022 June, for 3 years. And I think the media, again, I'm starting from that angle. The media should have said, is it possible? Has there been any person who is elected for 5 years or for 3 years, and before that term ends, is elected for a second term, double election, during the same tenure? Yeah, it will continue to be a complexity. But I'm proud I won double in the same tenure. So I have a spare term in my office, because the main one I still have. Anyway, Jeff, I understand there are some very distinguished resource persons. Miss Janine Lazarus and Mr. Lawrence Maguma. I want to recognize them. And of course, members of the Southern Africa Media Fraternity that are in the room. There are also some distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm addressing you as president of the Pan-African Parliament. But I also hope you know my CV, because I mix my brains from pub, from a university leader with a lot of demonstrations, and I was a leader at the university with some other expertise elsewhere. And I talk always, when I address issues of the public, I want to be honest and truthful. At any level, I've seen so many things, and I don't want to pretend that things are good or bad when the truth is the opposite. So you being media, I'll speak from my heart and say the truth. We want to give you some assignments, and you also give us some assignments. This institution called Pan-African Parliament, I know as media people, you do a lot of research and you read protocols and everything. But I want to say, when the OAU was formed in 1963, at that time, in the structures or constitutive acts of the OAU, not the African Union, the AU that we know now. In 1963, there was no parliament in the organizational structure of the AU, or AU, sorry. And that statement is very instructive to the media. The parliament was only launched 21 years later in 2004, March 2004, in Addis. And you should always ask yourselves, first of all, in 1963, did they forget about a parliament? And why 21 years later, you then bring in the parliament? Anyone who has been involved in institutional reform, you know that when you set up an organization, first 2, 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes you miss certain key ingredients of that organization. If you want to achieve something, and then you set up an organization or an institution, You realize after 10 years that we need, for example, a buying department. We need a stores department. So the union, having transformed itself in 2000, the year 2000, into the AU, African Union, also realized that they needed a parliament to be able to deliver to the people. And it's a fact, to the media that the African Union, which used to be AU, has struggled to be understood, appreciated by the citizens of the continent of Africa. It is a struggle. And my assignment for you is, you as media, what have you done to get the citizens of this continent to understand, appreciate, and even help it to build itself for the people? One aspect of getting the citizens to participate is the parliament. There is a whole protocol which was adopted by member states. 90% of the member states of the African Union have ratified that protocol. But even within the union, among other organs, there is still some reluctance to accept PAP. And we expect the media to engage the public in that debate. Are the public aware that even within the union, some see the parliament as, no. This parliament is there to scrutinize. As you are aware, any parliament in the world, its role is to oversight, to bring the views of the people to those who are in leadership, which we call the representative function. And of course, lawmaking is another. But we get it wrong, all of us, when we say Pan-African Parliament does not make laws that are then enforceable in the member states. We think a parliament spends 365 days in a year making laws. There is no such parliament anywhere in the world. Lawmaking, and I've been a member of parliament for decades now, lawmaking does not even go up to 50% of the time that we spend in parliament. You can't be making laws 50% of your time. If you get to 30, 40%, really you've made a lot of laws. But PAP up to now, its role is not quite accepted by the very makers or designers of the PAP. And when you write and research, one problem with the AU, which reminds me of the late Gaddafi. I attended the summit, AU summit in Libya in Sirte, it was 2007, 8, about 9, when Gaddafi was chair. So on a Friday, the meeting started. Thursday, Friday, Gaddafi was chairing. About 11, Chairman Gaddafi chairing the AU Assembly then says, I'm a bit tired about this AU thing. And today is Friday, I'm a Muslim, I need to go to the mosque. But before I go, I want to say, one problem is when we meet as heads of state or assembly, we agree on certain actions to be undertaken. When we come back the following year, we find that we are discussing the same issues that we agreed. Some people are raising some objections. Some are showing that they are not quite, they have not bought into what we agreed. Just because there are new presidents every year coming on board. So nothing really is discussed to finality. The same problem seems to be emerging in PAP, where those that saw the wisdom in establishing Pan-African Parliament are no longer within the union, or they are no longer participating in this forum. And then you see, when you go into a meeting on budget of PAP, some will say, no, but what PAP is doing is duplicating what other organs or commissions are doing. Then you say, but what PAP is doing is contained in the protocol, the functions of PAP in the protocol. So we are doing exactly that. I don't know, we cannot fund this activity on agriculture. And then what's the problem? Is duplication. Just because some people do not understand that in any parliament in the world, you have parliament portfolio committees that oversight the executive. So if a Minister of Agriculture or Minister of Health, when you go to Parliament, you find a committee on agriculture and on health. And AU, they will say, that's duplication. Yet, no, that's part of good governance. The portfolio committee in Parliament oversights, it follows up on issues, policies that the executive have pronounced. And they set up programs and say we want money. And then the parliament goes and says, have we implemented what we said we want to implement? Then you move on like that. But those are contradictions. We don't understand what the parliament's role should be. But coming back to the media specifically, Southern Africa media, are we different from northern media, northern, eastern, western, or southern, even Europe? But we are a region, and the presidency seat now is Southern Africa. I'm from Zimbabwe, Southern Africa. Does our media fraternity understand that? They understand that the presidency of PAP is in Southern Africa. What does it mean? It means that you are very close to the person that is the president. Are you aware of that? You are closer, and he speaks the same language. Okay, I know there's Portuguese in Angola and Mozambique, but we are one family. Have we been working as one family as media with your president? Are you proud of the fact that the president is from your region? I'm not a president for Southern Africa, I'm a president for all the 5 regions. But you should also say we are closer to him, because I can fly, I can even drive to Harare from almost every city, capital city in the region. We can drive from Rwanda. Rwanda will take much longer. Yes, but you can get there. But most of the capitals, Lesotho, Eswatini, Malawi, everybody can drive. So what contribution have we made to support that position? You are aware that we had to fight in Southern Africa. And I believe at that time you made a contribution, the issue of rotation, that leadership should rotate we put in a lot of resources to win on this one. But we have had challenges. And recently, or last year, when we took over, within a year, we had the problem that I had to go for election. But a small group, if 2, 3 people, we knew they were not happy that we took over in Southern Africa. Some had personal ambitions. When I took over, they didn't want to fit in. And rotation blocked them. So we had this problem of having an acting president from August 23, 2023. And the background is simple, that when I went for elections, I had to take leave. And in terms of rotation, I wrote a letter, and I wrote that letter in terms of Rule 19, Rules of Pan-African Parliament, which say, first of all, the vice presidents will perform their duties under the direction and control of the president. And that in the absence of the president, they will act in rotation in their ranking order. But that was subverted. But I want to stop there and say, look, we didn't hear the media educating the public about this rotation issue. And especially the media from Southern Africa. They should have educated the public. Up to now, the people are not even clear what was happening. Where did this guy or person come from to become an acting president? But we had a lot of acrimony around. What was it about? And why didn't the media engage us on these issues and say, no, you are the president? We hear there's an issue about rotation over this. Who should be in the office? You did not share enough with the public. In your own countries, you should have gone to town to say there's what is called Rule 19, which provides for rotation. And these are the rules of rotation. But anyway, someone then moved into the office and declared themselves I'm acting. It was totally unprocedural, totally outside the rules. And the media should have helped the public. But media didn't quite do it. And then there was drama that followed. Rotation usually is not more than for 4 weeks. If you act for 1 month, goes next. This man refused and said, and even scared everybody. The media did not quite help us. I want to be very, very hot on that. Didn't help us to tell the public that this is wrong. And this idea of publishing once and leave it should have gone more the whole 6 months and say, this is not what it should be. But even our own Southern Africa media did not quite take advantage of the incumbency. Having known that rotation, we got that presidency after fighting for more than a year, that Southern Africa should have a chance for presidency. And indeed, when that was disturbed, it was being disrupted, we expected the media to educate everybody about. And then you were misled. Some of you even misled the people because you didn't know what that fight was about. On the face of it, it was rules, amended rules which were amended, contravened the protocol. In fact, that is not true. even now. We are still to amend, to review the amendments and see what is it that will be put in the rules in order to introduce rotation. In a brief, you see, the argument in 2021 that collapsed the elections, Bureau elections in 2021, was about rotation. Some wanted rotation, some did not want rotation. Even now, when you see arguments about amendments, what are the amendments about? The amendments are to introduce rotation in the rules. So those who don't like rotation find their own way to oppose by using all sorts of tricks, including that the amendments are violated. Their interest is not about violation, because there's no violation after all. Their interest is to delay the inclusion of rotation in the rules. And it benefits them. Because some of them will say, if you apply rotation, which means after Southern Africa, you go to North Africa, to East Africa, then you end up in Central Africa, then they will see themselves that even next elections, I will not be eligible to become a president of PAP because of the rotation principle. Those people have been against rotation and against the amendments. So all they want is to collapse anything to do with the amendments because it brings in rotation. And let's wait and see how far we'll go in introducing rotation in the rules. We wait to see that. See, the provisions that they say violated the protocol are only meant to introduce rotation in the rules. Only. So, to the extent that it doesn't please them, they will oppose whatever amendment. All those, they are the media, what happens in Parliament. When you introduce something in an existing act, every year when the Minister of Finance introduces a budget, every year, and every year when the Minister of Finance introduces a budget, the minister introduces new things in the financial regime of a country. And the moment he does that, he then proposes some amendments. You propose amendments to align the new financial proposals. We call those consequential amendments. So when you introduce rotation in the rules, you have to also to introduce what you call consequential. Certain things have to change in order for that rotation to be operationalized. And those consequential amendments are the ones they say, no, don't introduce them because they will violate the rules, which is not correct. But let's wait and see. But we go back to the Southern Africa media and they say, did you understand this whole issue about amendments? If you did, what did you do to bring clarity to the public? Because you had access to the leadership, for example, of the region, and you should have done more. We expected more to educate even the Francophone or other groups of people to understand what was happening. And I'm simply challenging you that next time, I think be more vigilant in terms of getting facts. And I see your training was about factual reporting. Factual reporting. Sorry, you should have gotten the critical issues. And even now, as we go to review the amendments, take an interest. What are the reviews? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing about these amendments? Please take an interest. And we are prepared to brief you how we are moving with the Office of the Legal Counsel in Addis, who are leading the process of amending the rules. You take a read and write a lot of articles about what you intend to amend. You see, it becomes more interesting that, in fact, there was nothing. All the noise about the amendments was unfounded. It is all about opposition to rotation. And in some cases, our own brothers in our region, I'm sorry to say, you stood with our enemy. Enemy not only to me, to the region, because we didn't have the facts. And those guys then went out to lie to the world. Oh no, Charumbira is guilty of this, embezzlement, whatever. So 4 million. No, it's not 4 million, it's 3 million. No, it's 2 million. No, it is this. Up to now, I can assure you, they will not find a cent, 1 cent, that the president of PAP would have abused. I challenge any audit. In effect, if you want to have more time, spend more time on this. The thing that they abused and they were abusing it was that the AU did not give us enough budget for the sessions of 2023, May, or March, May, August, October. For example, for the May session last year, they allocated 450,000. And for the November session, 450,000. Total 900,000 for 2 sessions in a year. One session, May session, only cost 1.2 million. So we asked the Executive Council, the Foreign Ministers to tell us, to allow us to get more funding. They please get more funding. So we used the 900,000, which was short by 400,000, for the May session, in the hope that AU release money for the October session. And we had permission for that. But the AU did not release the money. As a result, the whole budget was inadequate for May. So we had to look for extra funding, transfers a bit to make the May session impossible. So then MPs were campaigning now and saying, why didn't we have the November session in October? When you know there was no money for it. There was no allocation for that. So they went to town, no, we overspent. They took the money. Again, that is all lies political grandstanding. Ignore it. And then when we move forward, is the issue of image. Indeed, the PAP image is tainted, and I'll be the first to admit, very tainted. But what are the reasons? This is the issue that the media should now research into. There are only 2 critical issues that made PAP image tainted. One is June 2021, when we were disputing over elections, and there was acrimony and drama. Some of you would have been there. That went across the world to show people at PAP fighting. It tainted our image. We came back. Elections. I come in 2022 June. The following year, August, there's drama. Someone has taken power unprocedurally, and they fired the clerk. He fired this and that. And that's where the $1 million question arises. If, and I will mention the name here, the second vice president was fighting for the review of the amended rules which he alleged had violated the protocol. When the rules were suspended in October by the chairperson of the AU, the matter was over. They were suspended. But why did they continue fighting even beyond that? You are aware that the clerk was suspended, was fired. When the rules were amended, the clerk was not even an employee of PAP. We amended in November 4, 2022. The clerk joined the PAP August or July 2023. So what did the clerk to do with the amended rules? She was a newcomer, knew nothing about it. So then other people were suspended. And then when we were going for elections, they even said, no elections before, elections will come before swearing in of people like Chief Charumbira. Again, there was a big war. During the elections, the same people invested millions. They even booked hotels for members of parliament. And the question is that to do with the amendments? So the whole thing was motivated by something other than the issue of amendment of rules. And we wanted our own caucus, our own southern region media to be closer to these issues and then be able to explain to the world the truth at PAP. And this is one thing that I want to challenge you, the truth at PAP. The media has not done very well about the truth at PAP. The truth among MPs, who now some in the union say there's a bit of hooliganistic behavior at PAP. Is that true? Can you also research on that one? Some people in the AU are saying PAP is a problem because there's hooliganistic behavior. Yes, can we debate that issue? And if it is there, we need to stop it. We can't have a Continental parliament of hooligans. I think we need to change our image. Our image that we are a parliament that is disorderly, for example. Can the media assist us to also expose these issues? Who are the hooligans? What would they have done? Why is our image bad? Is everybody in PAP bad? Or is simply the fact that one or two people are taking advantage of the situation? Maybe they have some money and they are using it in the wrong way. Anyway, I can go on and on. PAP is your forum. The media, PAP is your forum. Use it also as media to promote your interests. Use PAP to advance the interests of the citizens on the continent. And the challenge remains, have you done that? How many times and where? You all know that the protocol is clear, that PAP was established to facilitate the active engagement of African peoples in the economic development integration of the continent. Can we work together on all these issues? And that PAP should help to promote democratic principles and institutions and the popular participation in good governance. We have not done enough. Of course, partly because of the money. The AU has reduced our budget. And we want the media to talk about this. PAP budget used to be 32 million per year. It went down to about 22, to about 18, to 16. Today, it has gone to 10. Employee remuneration benefits are about close to 10 million, 9 point. So PAP is almost just there to pay salaries. It is, in the current budget, 93% of PAP budget goes to non-program issues. So only 7% remains. That 7% under the current budget is 700-something thousand. That's what remains for committees of PAP to undertake business. And that amount cannot even enable us to hold one session. It's inadequate, whether even a committee session. And these are issues that the media should go into. Understand the PAP in terms of its resourcing. What are the facts about the PAP budget? We want these things to come out to the people of Africa to say this is what they have, this is what they don't have. But as I conclude, please, what we are seeking with the media is PAP, is a permanent, continuous, sustainable engagement. We need to work jointly, not against one another, but not to say if we do things that need to go to the public, whether good or bad, please take it. Tell the public that we are not doing things right and you have no problem with that. I have no problem. My background in that area is so strong. Whatever is true, let it come out. But let's not be obsessed with only talking about bad things. Let's come up with ways of working together to build PAP. Once you build PAP, you then build a platform for citizens of the continent to speak out also, to tell our leaders what it is that people are not happy about and what will make them happy. Agenda 2663, for example, has been pronounced, is now operational. But what have the people felt the benefits of Agenda 2063? Are the people going to feel the benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area? The new baby on the block, which is now promised revamping of economies on the continent, improved trade and expand and grow all the economies in Africa through trade. Let's work together with Pan-African Parliament, because one of our mandates is to ensure integration, economic integration on the continent. The PAP should promote the trade between and among countries through ensuring that national parliaments push for more progressive trade law regimes. But we can only do better if the media is anchored with the Pan-African Parliament. And if we are embedded, if we are blended together. So I've touched many issues. Jeff, let's not do workshops for workshops' sake. We want to see after this workshop, what are the practical steps that we are going to undertake? Very clear, measurable steps after this workshop. What next? What next? What next? So that we can also reflect on our achievements as a result of this workshop. Not with our workshop, after this workshop, money is finished. Another 3-4 years, you don't even interact, you forget about one another, and then something happens another day, and for that matter, at another workshop 3 years later, different people appear here. They have no memory of what was discussed in the past. All these things, can we address them? Otherwise, I wish you the best. I wish you the best in your deliberations. But I'll ask Jeff after the end of it all, when we meet and say, so after that workshop, what is next? How are we benefiting? What are we doing? Yeah. I thank you. Thank you very much, Jeff.